Hi there guys, welcome and welcome back to my channel Girl Next to Decide. I hope you all are doing well. So today we have a very special guest over here, Rohit, my husband, and he is the guy behind the camera and does all the technical work while I record the video. So today we are going to talk about our latest Singapore trip, and there are a lot of important information, not so fancy information, but very important details about payment, transport, and a lot of other things. Therefore, I felt that it really makes more sense that we do this together so that you don't miss out details in me translating it. So yeah, setting the context first, this is not the video which creates your itinerary or talks about where to go in Singapore. Rather, this video is going to talk about, we are going to talk about the lesser fancy things, or the more important things that people don't talk about their videos. Example, transport, payment, how much cash to carry, where to stay, the conveniences and everything. So yeah, let's get started.
Yes, sure.
So we have divided the entire video into 4 categories, basically 4 chapters. The first one, we are going to talk about the commute and transportation. So yeah, it's a very important thing because if Singapore, as you know, is a really expensive city. So if you are someone who want to take a cab, well, good enough, because it's going to cost you a lot. But if you want to avoid cab, then what are the options? We are going to speak about that, and how you can avail them is what we are going to cover in this topic. So over to you, Rohit.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here. So primarily the commute section in Singapore. Singapore is very well connected with public transport. Primarily 2 modes of transport can be availed. One is metro, which is normally referred to as MRT in Singapore, and the second is the bus service that you can avail in Singapore. So both the mode of transport is very well connected throughout Singapore. Wherever you want to go, it is very well connected. So MRT is a metro network that is called in Singapore, and anywhere you want to go metro, you can avail metro. So how do you know which metro to go if you want to go to a specific destination, right? So anyway, you have already shortlisted your destination that you want to go. So just use Google Maps. Google Maps are good enough, and you just give from and to locations. The Google Maps will show you the metro stations and the metro route that you have to take. So, and also the bus route that you can take. One very good, or one pointer that I want to highlight about metro is, so there is a lot of interconnections in Singapore. So if you want to go from one place to another place, just check where is the junction line that you want to drop, and then again you want to move to a different terminal within that MRT station to catch the next line, or to catch the next metro. So this is one of the most critical point.
And I think it's very, whether you're in case you're thinking that how will you get to know about the interconnections, where in every metro station, which is very well connected throughout the entire city, there are many metro stations, you will always get a very easy to understand and easy to read chart. Their entire network of metro is given to you, including the places. You can take a photo and you can refer to it whenever you think you have to change line, or you have to take a different metro.
Yeah, second is about the bus network. Bus network is also very well connected throughout Singapore. So there are only fixed bus stops where the bus will stop. It's not like here in India that anywhere in the middle of the road you can just wave your hand and the bus will stop. Again, same, you use Google Maps. You put the from and to location. One very good feature about Google Maps is they will also show that in a particular bus stop at what time the bus will come, and based on our experience, we have seen whatever the time is shown in Google Maps, the bus arrives exactly at that time.
Yeah.
So that is a very good thing. So if you are even waiting for a bus, you know how much time you have to wait for a bus to come. And there are very simple bus numbers that is given. There is no complicated route name that you have to remember. You just have to see the Google Map bus number 65, 37, 88, whatever the bus number is shown in the Google Maps. Just wait in that bus stop, and the bus will come in that bus stop, and you can board the bus and reach your destination.
Right. And I also wanted to add to this, thanks for adding that. I also wanted to add that we went to Singapore on 27th of March, right? So March is a good time. So what are the other months where when person can go to Singapore?
So Singapore is generally a tropical weather region. So anytime you go, it's mostly the climate is mostly within a range. So better you go before March, April, or you go after September, October, because in the monsoon season it might become too rainy and you will not be able to visit your destination. So better you go any time of the month. One important pointer is you carry an umbrella with you every time you go to any place. Just carry an umbrella with you. We'll cover that point in our next section, but just I wanted to highlight this here.
Yeah, and we went at the night of 27th of March. We reached there on 28th of March and we came there on 31st. So we were there for 3 nights, 4 days. And also it's very important to note that in most of the cases your hotel will be near to your metro station or your bus station, but before you book, please do check that out as well.
Yeah, one important point here is typically if we are traveling from India, we tend to take the night flights, right? That when it will reach Singapore very early in the morning. So check with your hotel that if they are allowing early check-in or not. If not, it's better to book one day advance, like 1 day of that time when you are reaching, because when you reach there you will be head tired. So it's better to reach the hotel. We reached around 6 a.m. in Singapore time in the morning, right? So we had already paid for that day as well. So when we reached Singapore, we checked into our hotel and we had a good 3 hours sleep before we went again and started our exploring the city, right? So it's very important that you get that 3-4 hours of sleep after you land there. Otherwise your entire day will be so much hectic, you'll not be able to try see most of the places with comfort.
Right. And yeah, I think we will cover more of check-in and hotel and food later, but yeah, thanks for adding that. Next we go over to payment methods and we will talk about how you can use payments. Is basically very easy. I felt it was very easy because there is just one card that you need to use over in bus, in metro, everywhere, and there are some specific details about if you're going for shopping or if for food, then that details will be shared by Rohit. And also please do also let them know how much cash a person needs to carry.
So overall, we carried around 100 Singapore dollars with us in cash.
Only 100 Singapore dollars, by the way.
Because Singapore is very developed in terms of digital infrastructure. So everywhere you go, they accept credit cards. One point to note is if you are traveling in bus and metro, they will accept credit card. They will accept a special EasyLink card. EasyLink card is a card which you have heard in other videos as well. It is a smart card kind of a concept wherein you can load that EasyLink card with as much amount as you want, and then whenever you board the bus, there will be machines that will be there in the bus or metros. So you have to just tap the card in that when you are boarding the bus. When you are entering the bus, you have to tap once, and when you are exiting, you have to tap again. So, and you do that using the same card. You don't use the card, because when you are using one card by entering, that's the entry point. That means you have boarded, and that's the location that it logs or registers. And when you go out, you tap again in bus. That's the location it logs when you are exiting the bus, and the fare it calculates, and then it deducts from your EasyLink card. So the EasyLink card costs around $10 Singapore dollar, out of which $5 is refundable balance that you can use, or $5 is the balance that you can use, and $5 is the cost of the card. So whenever you use EasyLink card, you have to pay $10. After you have exhausted your $5, you can visit any MRT anywhere in
any metro station,
any metro station, and there are vending machines in each of the MRT station where you can use your credit cards, or you can use your cash to load up the balance in EasyLink card. If you have 0 forex markup credit cards, that also it's accepted. You can use your credit cards also in MRTs as well as in buses. But debit cards, we used our Neo Global debit card, that was not accepted when you are using it for MRT or in bus. So you can use your credit card, which is 0 markup or low markup credit cards, or the EasyLink card is the best way. That is accepted in all bus, MRT, even in some convenience store like 7-Eleven, that is widely accepted.
Okay, and from where do we buy the EasyLink card?
Yeah.
From convenience store.
Yeah, so from any MRT station, if you are going in, you will find dedicated MRT offices, dedicated card offices where you can buy the EasyLink card. In addition to that, there are many convenience stores that are within the MRT premise, which you can use to buy your EasyLink card. You will buy the EasyLink card from there, but you have to use the vending machines, which are again there in the MRT premise before you enter your platform. The MRT vending machines can be used to top up your EasyLink card.
Recharge basically.
Yeah. So whenever you are tapping your EasyLink card in the metro, you will be able to see how much balance is left, and from there you can take a guess, and when you next MRT station, you can top up your EasyLink card.
Right. So, and in case you're thinking that the EasyLink card is only usable at metro and bus, then that is also not right, because there are vending machines which gives out fruit juice, and even I saw artificial nails. Okay, so all these accessories can be bought using vending machines in Singapore, and so that those machines also will accept your EasyLink card. So some of the convenience stores, vending machines, metro and bus, all of these things will accept EasyLink card. And in case, example, like we are going for a dinner, at that time which card a person can use?
Yeah, so whatever credit card you have, it's primarily the top banks that we have in India: HDFC, IDFC, ICICI, any top tier banks credit card you can use. Please keep in mind that debit cards were not accepting, because I tried using my debit card, but it was not getting accepted. But the credit card, I didn't face any issue. If you are not willing to buy a EasyLink card, then you can use your credit card also to make any purchase, to pay in bus, to pay in MRT, to pay in any restaurant or anywhere. You can use your credit card to pay the bill.
Right. Okay. And what about UPIs? Can we use UPIs over there?
So they say that they accept Google Pay and Apple Pay, but Apple Pay is not available in India. Google Pay, I did not try much, so I would, and I heard in some videos as well that Google Pay is not accepting. And moreover, we use a different SIM card when we go there, right? We don't use our number which we have linked with our Google Pay. So sometimes that becomes also a difficulty. So it's better not to depend on UPI or in Google Pay or Apple Pay. It's okay if you have cash, or you can use your credit card to pay any amount.
Right. Okay. So the next chapter or the next category is basically food and stay. So the very important thing that you need to understand is, for stay, we selected a hotel that was very near to the metro station. From our hotel, the metro station was, I think, within 100 meters, right? And even the bus stop was extremely near. So that is not a difficult thing, because most of the hotels are very near to metro, because the city is very, very well connected with metro. So that is one thing that you should be checking out. So where we stayed was Leif Ferrers Park, right?
Leif Ferrers Park. So Leif is a franchisee over there. They have many different outlets within Singapore, but where we stayed was Ferrer Park. Ferrer Park is the name of the location, name of the place, and Ferrer Park is also a metro location as well. So the metro station was hardly 50-60 meters from our hotel. So the recommendation is you choose Ferrer Park, Little India, these locations to stay, because many Indian restaurants are available in nearby, and also the price of the hotels are relatively cheaper compared to other locations. Although Singapore is very expensive, so the price of the hotel that we stayed was around 8.5k per night, but then that is in the lower range, actually, I would say.
Yeah, and since we are finally talking about prices, it would be worthwhile to share how much we have spent in these, for individual, for one person in these 4 days.
So total we paid around 9 with taxes and all. It was 9k.
No, I'm saying overall, how much was the cost of the Singapore trip per person?
So per person we spent around 65 to 70k, including flight tickets, including stay, all the tourist places, food, everything. Rides, everything. We paid around 65k.
Right. And that excludes shopping, guys, because shopping is very subjective. What I want to buy, you might not want to buy. So we have excluded that. And so it comes to 65 to 70k. I think this is pretty good. It's not like too much, okay, because it was 4 days. And now coming back to lodging, if you have seen any video of how hotels are in the eastern part of the world, I have always seen them to be very small. And actually this is the time when I felt it in with my own, I saw it with my own eyes. The hotel room where we have stayed, the room was really small. And you constantly keep on thinking that, okay, I'm paying 7,000 for this, and it's so small, but that's how exactly it is. So if you think that you are going to get a place to cook your food or anything as such, if you're taking Airbnb, I think the scenario is going to be different.
There are very less Airbnbs in Singapore where you can stay, which is nearby, in the heart of the city, in front of the metros. So that becomes a very deal breaker.
Right. So that is why we had bathroom, and we had barely a place where the bed was present, right? So our room was really small. Okay. And just to add to that, we were only given a kettle to warm the water. We were not given any coffee or tea or anything, but I think that might vary from hotel to hotel. And to add on to that, we have carried our own breakfast. We carried instant noodles, instant upma, instant poha. So these are the three things, 3 packets for him, 3 packets for me. That's how we have managed breakfast. And that was also something which help us reduce our cost, because we were making our own breakfast inside the hotel. Okay. And just to add on to that, like I said, Little India and the Ferris Park, these places have a lot of Indian restaurants. So you can enjoy a good coffee over there always, along with your breakfast. Now coming to food. So Singapore food is, has a lot of Korean and Chinese influence. Okay, so the food will not be very well cooked like we have in our Indian homes. Rather, they are more towards the boiled side, which are marinated with a lot of sauce and all these sesame seeds and seasonings. So that is not something that we really liked. Okay, so you might hear a lot about Singapore food. Singapore food is this, Singapore food is that. But to be honest, we did not like it. We are non-veg. Okay, and we are not someone who likes the chicken with skin. So they did not even de-skin the chicken. I know there are a lot of people out there who wants to have their chicken in that way, no offense, but that's not what our preference is. So in the breakfast in the hotel, we were doing it ourselves, and in the during the lunch time, we were going to hawker center. So there are 2 hawker center in Singapore which has good lunch options, which is the Hong Lim Food Center. Another is the Maxwell Food Center. We went to both these places. We have tried out the basic.
Yeah, so the food prices are very reasonable. Within $5, $7, you can get a full meal. But the problem is what she said, the food, how they prepare the food is not something that is suited to our palate. So it is on the boiled side, the spices are less, and we didn't like it. We had heard a lot about before visiting the place. We visited these 2 hawker centers which are very famous and popular. But then, like I said, we didn't like the food. So we went back to places in Little India or Ferry Park. There are a lot of veg and non-veg options are over there. Lot of Indian non-veg restaurants. In veg, you will find A2B, you will find Ananda Bhavan, you will find MTR. All these outlets are available. And typical food prices, like the coffee will cost around $3. Idlis, 2-piece idlis will cost around $6.
$6. Full veg meal had costed us $10. So I think that's where we had our dinner.
Yeah.
Okay, so the dinner was really good because during the lunch, we all had Singaporean, Korean, Chinese, and the food items were ranging from noodles to soup to roasted chicken, and there were momos, different kinds of momos, sorted vegetables. So this was the palette of the lunch. And during night time, during dinner, we always went over to most of the times, I think three nights out of 4, we went over to Little India, and we had tried Bengali biryani over there. We had got North Indian food and naan, chicken, butter chicken, everything we had tried. And that was where we felt a lot more relieved and comfortable and felt satisfied. So that is one thing that I really wanted to add. Now we come over to the last category, which is, exploring the city. Like we have already mentioned that Singapore is a hot, humid place, and often it starts raining out of nowhere. Okay, and the rain does not last for more than 10 minutes, by the way. So that is one really good thing. And in addition to that, that is the reason why you should be carrying an umbrella, which he has already mentioned before. Okay, we did carry an umbrella, but then we didn't feel that we have to open it because it just rained for 10 minutes and then it's gone. Okay, and it's again sunny. So that is one thing. So please do not wear any thick clothes. Wear something which is cotton, which is made of cotton, breathable clothes, one piece dresses in which you feel comfortable, and very, very breathable, pants, and something that you feel comfortable in. And the other very, very important part of outfit that we need to speak about is, our shoes. Okay, so Singapore is a place where you have to walk a lot. There is no last mile connectivity, which means that how we have in India, right? We get down from metro, from there we take an auto, and that auto takes us to final destination. Here, from your home, you have to walk till the metro station, and in the metro station, everywhere you have to, from the station entrance to the train, you have to walk, and all the places, the Universal Studios, Lawrence by the Bay,
Marina Bay Sands.
It's extensive place. We were hitting 16,000 steps per day, and we are not, we are pretty sedentary. We have pretty sedentary lifestyle. We don't walk that much. So it kind of became difficult for us, 16,000 steps per day. Therefore, please do wear very, very comfortable shoes. Okay, I was wearing my shoes, and Rohit had to buy it because the shoe that he was wearing was not very comfortable, and he started having shoe bites. So it's very important that you pick a shoe that you can walk and walk and walk. So that's one of the most important things. And in addition to that, it's very important to carry a water bottle. Okay, water in Singapore is expensive. You will not feel like giving $2 for a bottle of water, right? Because you constantly multiply, keep on converting and keep on multiplying. So that's why he was carrying 1 liter of water, I was carrying 1 liter. And in addition to these 2 liters of water, let me tell you that everywhere in the city you have orange juice and sugarcane juice vending machines where you can use those EasyLink cards. So yeah, that was extremely useful. I think we had two glasses of orange juices every time we were going somewhere. So that is very useful as well. But please do carry your own water. Okay, now going over to SIM card, I will pass it on to you.
Yeah, so SIM card, what we did is we booked all the tourist places tickets via Klook, and we got a gift as a eSIM from Klook, and that had a 3 GB data connection with it. So we activated the eSIM in India. You can do it, and then when you land over there, you just switch your eSIM to that particular line. And 3 GB we were very conservative, but I eventually at the end of 4 days when we reached airport, my data was exhausted. So 3 GB, if you use it conservatively, it is enough, I feel, because everywhere you go in Singapore, every mall, every destination that you are visiting, they have free Wi-Fi's. So make sure whenever you are using any data, you use the free Wi-Fi's over there. When you are on the way in transit, at that time you use Google Maps, or in Google you want to search anything. Those times are, I think 3 GB is enough. No need to spend your data on videos and all, and YouTube and all. So it's okay if you have 3 GB data. If you run out of that 3 GB data, you can anyway top it up from Klook app itself. That also you can do. 1 GB I think was around 65 Indian rupees. So that's very affordable.
Okay, and just to add on to that, do carry things which which are antiperspirant, deodorants, and try to have more fruits, okay, from the vendors which you will find on the road. That is going to be of really good help. And now coming to shopping. Okay, so the one brand which we were hearing about a lot before going to Singapore, and which is a luxury brand, was Charles and Keith. And this Charles and Keith store you will find in almost all the major malls. Okay, and that is one luxury brand which costs really hefty if you buy it in India, but is actually cheaper, almost by 3-4k. I think we were getting a benefit. So if you want to buy something, which is in the luxury and a high-end side, you can definitely check out Charles and Keith. I think I brought one bag which was for $100, 100 Singapore dollars. I bought shoes which were for 60 Singapore dollars, which are, I was checking the website on and comparing the price to India, and actually I was saving some 4,000 to 5,000 rupees there. Okay, so that is one brand you should definitely try out. It is not for guys, it is all for girls, and girls should definitely try out Charles and Keith, is my suggestion. Now, what about mass shopping? Like, right, whenever we go over to outside to, for a trip, we have to carry chocolates for office, or we have to carry some souvenirs for our friends and family. And if I have to suggest one place, that is Bugis Street, right? So Bugis Street is one place where you find markets after markets where you can do mass shopping. So all those chocolates for your colleagues that you have to buy for yourself, if you want to buy, you can buy from there. I bought two very beautiful bags for my mother-in-law and my own mother from Bugis Street. They look really luxurious, but they do not cost a lot, okay, compared to the other malls and everything. So that is one thing. I think I bought a bag for myself. That is also the place where you will get fridge magnets. So fridge magnets and t-shirts and caps and hats and all these, basically you will feel like it's a flea market and it's affordable. So Bugis Street is where you should definitely go if you have to buy things and bring back for your friends, families, colleagues. And last but not the least, Singapore gives you GST refund at the airport. I think that bit I'll again pass it on to him.
Yeah, this is a very quick hack that we wanted to tell you. Whatever shopping that you do, if it is more than 100 Singapore dollar, you can get the GST charged on top of that by the merchant. You can get it back if you you have to do one thing. You have to, in the bill, they have to log that data in the website of the government. And once they log it, they will mention how much refund will you get in the bill. And then you have to go to the airport. So in the airport, if the item is in the check-in luggage, then there are vending machines before the security where you have to enter your details, and then automatically you will see that how much GST refund you are getting. You have to then enter your details where you want to receive. You can either get it in cash or you can get it in credit card. But then again, cash you will get it in Singapore dollar, so there is not much point in getting in cash. So what I did was I opted for credit card. So the GST refund will be credited to your credit card statement, which you can later see. So whatever amount you are doing a shopping, if it is more than $100, do ensure that you ask the merchant to log that GST refund for you. And then when you are in the airport on your final day, when you are checking out or when you are leaving the country, if it is a check-in luggage, then it is before the security. And if it is in the carry luggage or hand luggage, then after the security there are again vending machines where you can enter the details and you will confirm that this is the amount that you are getting.
Okay, and can you give them an idea, like, for the GST refund that you have got, so that they can understand that how much will be that amount? So whether it is even, what going for the GST refund or not, what will be the amount?
So I bought two shoes. One was around $155 and another one around $110. So I got a refund of around $16 to $17.
For both?
For both, yeah.
Okay, $16 to $17.
$16 to $17. So that's around $1 is 65 rupees. So 1250, 1300 to 1400 rupees.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is one important thing. And fun fact, That is why most of the prices in Charles and Keith was $99. Okay, not $100, not $101, $99. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that you learned something for your next Singapore trip. Do definitely watch this video. If you know that any of your friends, colleagues, families are going over to Singapore, this is a video that I think is going to help you out because of all the things that we have discussed today. So please do subscribe to our channel.
Yeah, there is. If you had any question, if any specific question that we could not cover in the course of the video, do mention it in the comment and we'll try to answer each of the comments, because I know when we are leaving the country we are so anxious, we have so many questions, every person's requirement and question are different. So whatever question you have, feel free to ask in the comment and we'll definitely reply.
Yeah. And for every of our video, we always respond to every comment. Doesn't matter whether it's one word that you have put or a sentence. So please be rest assured that we are here to help you. And that's why we have your girl next door over here. So thank you guys. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.